What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Conor McGregor reacts to Dustin Poirier. After Dustin Poirier's recent loss to Justin Gaethje, the MMA community was quick to throw their support behind the former interim champion. During Monday's episode of the MMA Hour, the Diamond explained to Ariel Helwani that although the BMF title is not an undisputed championship, it would have cemented his place as a future Hall of Famer and validated his status as one of the best lightweights of all time. Ariel Helwani then defended Poirier's status as a future Hall of Famer, regardless of the outcome of the fight, sparking a response from former two-division champion Conor McGregor, who made the case against Poirier being a Hall of Famer. Never won an undisputed title, 0-3 in title fights. I disagree on Hall of Fame. All due respect, he has one solid win over me, where he was getting pucked around the cage before he got it, and then the second off a leg break. He's done all, Ariel, not Hall of Fame, no way. After a fan who identified himself as a McGregor supporter defended Poirier's legacy, McGregor then brought up Poirier's cancelled fight with Nate Diaz back in 2018, writing, "Bottled it against Nate. Ariel is saying he should go for Nate next, forgetting he already booked and bottled it against Nate. It's recency bias. I'm sorry. He is a nice lad. He is not UFC Hall of Fame." After Helwani responded and defended Poirier's resume as one of the best in 155-pound history, McGregor then responded yet again, writing, "Lightweight division Hall of Fame at best, failed at featherweight, 0-3 lightweight titles, with a few wins. Colby, not a peep out of him after all was said. Bottled Nate also. That's his 170 run. 0. A lightweight Hall of Famer at best. The Hall of Fame needs tightening like vice grips. UFC vet, less than UFC legend." McGregor then posted one final tweet about the situation, saying he didn't want to kick Poirier while he was down, before then teasing his return by telling his fans, "See yous at Christmas." While McGregor seems to have other plans on the horizon for his return, only time will tell whether he and Poirier step into the octagon to compete against one another again before they both call it a career. Nate Diaz goes off on Justin Gaethje. While the MMA community has been singing Justin Gaethje's praises in the wake of his dominant win over Dustin Poirier, Stockton superstar Nate Diaz doesn't think the highlight is worthy of the BMF title. During a recent interview with All Out Fighting, Diaz shot down both Gaethje and Poirier's claims to the BMF crown.
No, him and Poirier are dorks. They don't fit the description anyway. And Masvidal too. Those guys, the champions are all kind of lame right now. So, there's Adesanya and John Jones. Besides that, everybody's kind of, there's nobody that entertaining to watch. And then, so what happened? I made something to entertain people, and I'm not even there. I feel like.
Although he's currently gearing up for a boxing match with Jake Paul this weekend, Diaz has his sights set on returning to the octagon in 2024. When he does, who do you want to see him compete against? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Shavkat Rakhmonov reacts to Kelvin Gastelum withdrawing from fight. Kelvin Gastelum's highly anticipated return to welterweight at Noche UFC on September 16th will have to be postponed after a sparring partner caught him with a spinning elbow in training. In a message to fans, Gastelum explained that he's already asked for the fight to be pushed back to a later date at Madison Square Garden. In addition, he also shared footage from security cameras that were recording when the injury took place, while including some pretty gnarly photos of the injury at the ER. When Shavkat Rakhmonov caught wind of the news, he took aim at Gastelum on Twitter, alleging that the former Ultimate Fighter winner is struggling with making the transition back to 170, before then calling for the two to fight at UFC 294 on his turf. "Piñata, I agreed to fight you on your territory on Mexican Independence Day in an arena full of your supporters, and it's not my problem you can't do it now. It's your turn to accept a fight on my territory in Abu Dhabi at UFC 294. Or did you realize it was a bad idea just now?" Fortunately for fans, it sounds as though these two will in fact compete before the end of the year. It's just a question of when. MMA Community panics as Jiri Prochazka posts videos. With the UFC's light heavyweight title currently sitting vacant, all eyes are on former champion Jiri Prochazka, who is expected to compete for the title once he's ready to return to the octagon. After Alex Pereira's narrow win over Jan Blachowicz in the co-main event of UFC 291, fans are eager to find out when the two men could wind up competing for the vacant title. Although there have been no updates on the fight, Prochazka's recent video on social media has generated plenty of mixed reactions from fans. On the one hand, the fact that the former champion is lifting so much weight gives many hope that he will return soon. On the other hand, many were alarmed to see the quote-unquote ego lift, which could lead to further injuries down the line. Before we continue, make sure you give that like button some love and be sure to subscribe to the MMA Zone for all of the latest news. Sean O'Malley on Conor McGregor versus Justin Gaethje. Conor McGregor's recent comments toward Justin Gaethje has the MMA community debating how a fight between the two would play out. For his part, the former two-division champion believes he would be able to put Gaethje to sleep. The way Sugar Sean O'Malley sees things, McGregor has the ability to knock Gaethje out, and he may also be enticed by the very nature of returning to fight for the BMF belt. During a recent episode of the Timbo Sugar Show, the bantamweight #1 contender spoke about the potential fight.
Damn, he would come back for that belt.
Yeah.
God, Conor's slick, bro. He could fucking do it. He could beat Justin. It'd be hard. I don't know. You watch that documentary. He was training. He was fucking, he was in it. I don't know.
But when was the doc?
For his part, McGregor has doubled down on his claim that he would handle Gaethje inside the octagon, tweeting out, "The guy is about as smart as 2 planks. He's a one-shotter for me. I snipe him dead in one single shot, and easily." Although Gaethje initially seemed uninterested in the fight, he took to Twitter on Tuesday with a challenge for the Irish superstar, writing, "Sign the contract, big boy." McGregor was then quick to respond with an autographed picture of himself along with the caption, "Signed." Jamahal Hill not impressed with Alex Pereira. After Alex Pereira picked up a split decision win over a former champion Jan Blachowicz, Poatan now finds himself in position to compete for the vacant light heavyweight championship against Jiri Prochazka. While former champion Jamahal Hill believes that Pereira did what he needed to do in order to get the nod, he also thinks that a fight with the former two-division Glory Kickboxing champ would be easy work. He spoke in a video for his YouTube channel, dropping some big news about when Pereira and Prochazka could compete for the vacant belt.
Hey, welcome to the division. I wasn't, me personally, I wasn't impressed with what I saw. I seen a lot of things that would be a short night for him against me, but it's not me. Luckily for him, it's not me that he'll be facing. He'll be facing Jiri Prochazka. From what I've heard, that fight will probably take place in Abu Dhabi, and I'm locked in for it. I'm a fan of it right now. I'm just on the sideline watching.
On the flip side, former title challenger Chael Sonnen does not believe that Pereira did enough to win the fight. In a video for his YouTube channel, Sonnen gave his assessment of the bout, saying,
"It was wrong. It wasn't a robbery. I have seen worse. It was wrong. There is nothing by the numbers that could get you to the conclusion that Alex won."
If Pereira and Prochazka wind up competing at UFC 294 in Abu Dhabi, who do you think leaves with the light heavyweight belt? Drop your predictions in the comments section below. Aljamain Sterling predicts Sean O'Malley fight. At UFC 292, bantamweight champion Aljamain Sterling will look to defend his title one final time before likely making the move up to 145 pounds. Heading into the bout, the fact that he's making a quick turnaround after defending the belt against Henry Cejudo has been a major talking point. Although the Funkmaster has stated that he's essentially fighting under duress, he's also predicting a dominant win against streaking contender Sean O'Malley. He gave his breakdown of the fight on Twitter this week, along with the hashtags Snap the Twig, and Still, and 4-Time Funk. Sean will be a good striking test, but he makes one mistake and he'll be on his back. Ground and pound TKO, round 2. I've seen it play out hundreds of times now. Almost time to execute the vision. With the fight rapidly approaching on August 19th, we want to hear from you. Who do you think gets the job done in Boston and leaves as the bantamweight champion? Drop your predictions in the comment section below. And now for our breaking news story of the day. We have Joe Rogan going off on the UFC and wants them to make a change to the octagon. In a recent podcast episode with Jared Cannonier, Cannonier explained how almost every time he fights, he ends up slipping on the canvas. Joe questioned why the UFC still uses a canvas and proposed that they switch it to a mat instead, but claims that UFC keeps it as a canvas because of all the sponsors and logos. Here's what Joe had to say about the situation.
It's funny you mentioned I would like them to have wrestling mats inside the ring.
You think that would be better than the canvas?
Yeah, I don't like the canvas. The canvas gets slippery, especially when they put the logos on it.
You're right.
Like I slipped when I fought Strickland and when I fought Adesanya. It was a few times, and then when I was slipping, I was getting ready to go.
And it's the logos because they get wet.
It was a logo I slipped on, but even the canvas in itself.
Right, you have to wet it and then step on your feet. Why do you think they continue to use canvas? Because canvas also fucks your skin up.
I would say because of the logos. I would say it's so they can have logos on it.
Can't you do logos on MMA mats?
I don't think that would come off a whole lot easier.
Because I remember we switched to a smooth mat at one time in my gym, in my old studio, and I couldn't use it because as soon as I got sweaty, every time I went to throw a kick, I'm slipping all over the place. I mean, this sucks.
And that's another reson why they use the canvas, because it's absorbent.
Right, it does absorb, but if your feet are dry, it's real slippery.
Yeah.
And if they do get the logos, like, I don't know how they apply them, but if they're just like, What's that shit when you do with the iron? What's that called, Jamie? You know what I'm talking
Like
about?
a heat sort of, yeah.
What is it called though? They used to iron on?
heat
Whatever.
transfer.
So like if you get like a cheap t-shirt from someone that's real thick, like this is a nice t-shirt, it's like it's there's not so much material that's thick. If you have that on a canvas where it's real thick, that's just not gonna, water's not gonna go through there. It's gonna puddle up on that.
Right.
And you go,
This is going to be, right on top of it.
and if you lose a fight or get an injury just specifically because of that, that's a shame. That's a shame. It feels like, to me, there's a better way. I mean, how many people are buying something because they see someone get the beaten up on top of it?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I just wish there was a way to do it where it didn't with the performance.
Do you agree with Joe Rogan and Jared Cannonier? Should the UFC get rid of the old canvas and adopt a new floor for the octagon to save fighters from slipping? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Sean Strickland gives update on Israel Adesanya fight. With no main event announced for UFC 293, the MMA community continues to eagerly await news regarding who the UFC will have headline the highly anticipated card in Sydney. Although the event is just over a month away, Sean Strickland seems to be holding out hope that he and the UFC are able to reach an agreement so he can fight on the card. During a recent interview with the Schmo, he gave an update about the bout, saying,
"Guys, we're working it. My man Contenders over there is out here. We're working it. We are working it. We're trying. I'm trying to do it for you guys. We're trying to make it happen for you guys. And then once the fight happens, all I got to do is fight Izzy, which, that's the easy part, right? Getting the fight is the hard part. Making the fight, winning the fight's the easy part."
While there's been no update on things from Adesanya's side regarding negotiations for the bout, it sounds as though there's still a chance things come together in time if the UFC is unable to put together another main event bout. Stay tuned for updates as they become available.